Hi there and welcome to the latest episode of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel with Chudders and Clazzy Clare. It is episode 10. We are back. We had an extended bye. We apologise and we're on a time crunch because Chudders has a meeting, so we will cram everything in that we possibly can that covers from the Colts game, although Chudders doesn't want to talk too much about that. I do, but we'll get into that in a minute. And then the Giants game and the bye. And basically there's not that much to talk about other than, oh my word, what is going on? So the floor is now yours, Chudders.
No, well, welcome back, first of all, after an amazing holiday. Look how bronzed you are. Yeah, I wanted to skip the Colts game. That feels like it was long enough ago. That was a nightmare we're only just starting to get over. But you want to scratch that itch and resurface it. So now you're back from your hollybobs. What amazing, wonderful, brilliant things did you see from the Colts game that really enthused you, Claire?
Well, it wasn't so much that, as I did say offline, so you do know the answer to this question. It was less that, and it was more, yes, you're quite right, went on vacation. And when the Colts game was on, I couldn't watch live because I was traveling. So I wasn't able to watch the Colts game until much later. I did catch it before the Giants game. I did watch them in order. And after seeing little bits on social media, because I had tapped out pretty much off grid for a while, I was kind of really, oh my gosh, this is going to be really terrible. And I watched the Colts game and it wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as I anticipated. And I think that felt like a positive for me because I expected a real dumpster fire, and it was just maybe like a candle burn. It wasn't quite as bad as I anticipated. However, it wasn't good. But the reason I wanted to touch upon the Colts game, I know obviously for everybody else it's like in the rearview mirror and you want to forget about it. The thing that struck me was how the Giants game was almost a replay of the Colts game. It was, no, I don't mean play for play, don't get me wrong, people, but watching it, you're almost watching the same sort of thing over and over. And I mean, they even came out with a very, very similar score, didn't they? 10-6, 10-7 kind of thing. So the reason I wanted to touch upon the Colts game was simply that the Giants game was so much like it that I don't feel like we have moved on. It's in the rearview mirror because this is kind of what is going on at the moment. And I know that's the big hot topic, and I'm talking too much once again. I said that I'd let you talk more. The thing is, at the moment, is that gets me is why. Now, loads of people want to blame Mac Jones. I know we've argued considerably about this, and it's a good job that we're not limited on messages because we'd have been cut off halfway through arguments multiple times. But the thing with Mac is the thing that I want to stand my ground with it is it's not just his fault. I get he's not good. Him not being good is got nothing to do with me liking him, and I know we've argued about this as well, and I do like him, but just because I like him it doesn't mean I actually think he's doing well at the moment. And that's the kind of thing that you can't get through your thick skull sometimes, is that just because I like him, it doesn't mean that my opinion of him is that he's playing well. It just means that I still like him because he's my quarterback. And I think it's such a shame that a lot of, I think fans mostly are really just giving him the whole blame pie. And I think there's so many pieces to go around. Not all. Yeah, you're shaking your head, no, your head. Not all. I didn't say all, but I have seen where people are indicating that if you take Mac out, that's it. And I just think that's so unfair. And that's why when I get on my soapbox about players is I hate the visceral that gets directed at one individual player. And it's so unnecessary. And it just feels so horrible. And as a fan, I don't like it because I don't like to see it because it feels icky, to be honest with you. Now, to that end, I know that like we're looking at Mac and we've got varied opinions on him, and I know that most of Patriots Nation that watch this show kind of tend to sway towards your opinion more than they do mine, because we all know that you're the favourite of this show. But it's that, yeah, he's broken, and so I feel like it's a little unfair to a degree, but I know he's making bad reads and bad plays and stuff like that. It's just, I listened to Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast this morning, semi-prepping for this show, and I hope other people do listen to it as well because he's really good, with Phil Perry, obviously, the senator. And I heard an expert of the Bill O'Brien, or a part of a conversation that Tom Curran, or it was something to do with presser. I'd missed where it was from, where Bill O'Brien was taking some responsibility, where he was indicating that it is protection breakdown. It isn't all just on Mac. You know, there's a lot of it to go around, and I think that's what's fair. And the thing that's the root of this long-winded beginning of everything for me is I'm so puzzled as to how who we've got on offense, because I know we've got some good, we've got some bad, we've got some good, and that's the point. Who we've got on offense, who they brought in as an offensive coordinator in Billy O'Brien, how they got an O-line coach, and they didn't have one last year, and they're sitting at, is it 2-7 now? 2-9, sorry. See, look, I lost 2 weeks. 2-9. And I went back and I looked at last year, because I'm looking at this year thinking, well, this year looks like it's under Matty Patricia. This year looks like you've got no OC. The offense can't pull anything together. And, you know, this is what you would expect if you had a defensive guy trying to share his job, you know, 3 different jobs or whatever. And they were 8-9 last season. Now, I know there's still some of the season left to go and stuff like that. The sandwich bets aren't exactly, yeah, they're out. Anyway, they're totally out. I owe him 3 sandwiches, folks. But yeah, it's just looking at how it is. It's the puzzlement of how is it like this under who we've got, whereas last year it was bad, but it wasn't like this. And now I've spoken enough, so the rest of the show is for you, Chudders.
Well, you say last year was bad, but it wasn't this. I mean, is that because you're saying this is worse, because this is better? Because I think I would agree. Now, the other point, and you brought this up, so I can't be blamed for bringing this up, that you said you can't understand how we got here. Now, I'm gonna contend with you that after free agency, I said this is what was on the cards, and you said to me, "Oh, come on, don't be so doom and gloom. We've got the draft to come," and then we had the draft.
Okay. Your memory's better than mine, so I have to take you with me.
And I was equally as I'm still very worried about this offense. And you were, oh no, don't worry, we haven't even had training camp yet. How can you be doom and gloom? How can you be worried? And then we had training camp, and I said, this doesn't look good. And we had preseason games, and I said, this doesn't look good. And you said, oh no, it's fine. We're getting the season. We'll get the O-line. It'll all be grand. And it's not looked good.
Are you honestly sitting there and telling me that you foresaw the demise of Mac? Is that? Are you trying to tell me that you predicted?
I don't think you can even count it as foresee it when we've had evidence of it for the past season and a half before this year. Because
you're negative about things and I'm positive, you are now going to claim that you foresaw all of this.
You can't say I'm negative.
Come on.
I'm negative when I'm right.
No, but
it's realism, not pessimism.
No. When it's training camp and we don't know what's going on, and you're like, "Oh, this is terrible," that's negativity.
We were getting
to be positive.
Right, we're gonna have an argument now. We were getting practices taken away from us because we were overtraining on special teams. We were doing what was beyond the levels of agreement. It was starting to look,
and we clearly weren't doing enough.
Exactly, or we weren't doing it right. We weren't concentrating on the right things. It's all right. We'll have a brilliant defense, a decent run game, and our special teams will be phenomenal, and we'll win every game 13-10. No, that's not the way it's going to work.
Anyway.
And the 10 bit is working. We can't even get to 11 the past 2 weeks.
If they get more than 11 against who we play, I don't know who we play. Against the Chargers, you have to buy me a sandwich.
I'm tempted to accept that just to give you a chance. Just to give you a chance. I don't want a pity bet. You know I don't want a pity bet. Because they probably will get to 11 because they can't. Surely at some stage they've got to score a touchdown, and then you're only field goal and 2, maybe a safety away.
And Will Greer's back on the practice squad, so hallelujah, all is saved. Sarcasm for those that didn't notice.
The other comment you made about how you watched the Colts game and it wasn't quite the car crash that you're expecting, having read social media.
Yes,
you only I think you watched that on Saturday. You only had to wait about 24 hours before that did happen in front of your eyes on Sunday.
That's fair. I didn't. It took me a while to get around to doing it because But
So should we?
I have some goods though, so you know.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Should we try and shed some positivity? What are the goods you had listed from the game on Sunday against the Giants, Claire?
Well, I'm smushing them kind of together because I do feel like they were very much almost like the same, because the things that you can pull out that were probably good from the Giants game were pretty much this very similar in the Colts game, and it was the run game. Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke, and I've got to kind of give him his dues, because when Zeke came in, I was like, oh, he's too much of a diva. I don't like this. I don't know how this is going to work. I admit I was like that. Not excessively, obviously, but always willing to give people a chance. But I was a little bit concerned that he was a diva, and I've got to give him his dues, because like he listens to the show and he really cares, obviously, that he has played so well. He's had his moments, don't get me wrong, but I suppose anything right now in this offense that's good, it looks really, really good. But I think Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott are very strong, are very kind of aggressive and good players, and I really hope that they hold on to them, because yeah, the run game is good. Pop Douglas, he's been good. Demario Douglas, depending on, yeah, some people have got, he's been mostly good. And I do have serious issue. If any officials are listening, I have serious issues with you, because he nearly got decapitated, and regardless of what you want to call it, that definitely was something that was unnecessary roughness, or I don't know. There's different things that can be called different things, and I know a lot of people say, oh well, they didn't hit there and this and this. I don't care about the specifics. Look at how that guy gets slammed to the floor, and if you're trying to make this sport slightly more safer, those sorts of things are unnecessary.
Contact to the head is unnecessary roughness. You can't you can't strike with the arm to the head. I know it was kind of a wrapping tackle. Well, it wasn't a wrapping tackle.
That's the thing, people, the specifics, the pedantics of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you look at that and you look at the one on Parker a few weeks ago and you think, how the hell are those not unnecessary roughness or some sort of penalty, yet you accidentally flick the pocket of a quarterback and that's a 15-yard penalty. It's ridiculous sometimes.
And they also should have got, I think this is I want to say the Giants game. Late in the second quarter, they should have been done for taunting. If they're going to penalise for taunting, then they should have penalised for taunting. I'm not saying that they should, but what I'm saying is they weren't calling them on things that they would normally call, and it always feels the same as a Patriots fan.
Because they're outplaying us with their third string quarterback who still lives with his mother.
What does living with his mother have to do with anything?
You'd think if that was an established quarterback, you would have at least moved out of the family home by now.
Fair play. The family home could be huge.
He played all right.
And yeah, to be honest with you, if I had the opportunity,
better than our quarterback who doesn't live with his mother. Maybe that's what Max should try.
So now you're going to blame Max's girlfriend now for his really bad play. To be honest with you, if I had the opportunity to go back and live with my mum, I probably would, because like laundry, cooking, cleaning up after.
He'd be Max's girlfriend then.
Dude, he's an NFL quarterback though, so you know. He is for now.
now we're getting to the root of why Claire likes Mac Jones.
It really isn't. No,
any other?
Oh, don't.
On the offense.
Not really.
That's really all I had. It was a good, effective run game.
Yeah.
I thought Parker did slightly better than he has done some weeks, but
he did. He for a moment he looked like I'm really disappointed, and I know people will say that he's not been very good, and I think it's the whole opportunity situation that I don't like how they haven't utilised Gesicki very much. How they haven't been able to use him so that he's been able to be effective. And that's nothing to do with my sandwich bet, although it would help. I was so excited to see him. And they're going to have him for a year and then they're going to move on from him. And it's not fair. I will cry. I will hold my hand up. And I will cry because I was so excited to see him in a Patriots uniform. I was so excited with his skill set. And then I'm like, what are you doing? This isn't fair. I hate that. That's my tight endage moment, my rant. I'm so sad.
That's about all I think we can mention on tight ends, because they didn't have one reception between them. Because they
But
can
it's
drop
not
the only
on
two that
them.
went his way.
You're so petty. You have to
Well,
just.
we
You
need to
have
have
to
your
just.
tight end moment.
No, you have to just pick at the little things like Gesicki, Izzo. You have to just. You're so. Ugh.
Izzo, I didn't mention. Is Izzo re-signed? Maybe
No.
he can play quarterback.
O-line, he's decent blocker.
So on the offense, I had no further goods. I will try not to dwell too heavily about quarterback play, and I don't just mean Mark Zappi. The first drive of the third quarter did look more promising than what we'd seen in the first half, but he didn't blow the doors off either. I'm sticking by what I'd like to see is Zappi get a full week, or to be honest, 2 weeks of being the designated starter, getting full reps, being treated like the starting quarterback, and then given an opportunity. Not, oh, he had 25% of the snaps this week and we'll bring him in at the end of the fourth quarter. Not, oh, he's had 40% of the snaps this week. Oh, we'll bring him in the second half. No, treat him like a starter for a couple of weeks and see what you get. I don't think you're going to find a franchise quarterback or a starting quarterback out of him. But what I'd like to see is, do you have a decent enough backup?
Don't know. I see your point. You're not wrong in your point. I just don't. I think they already know. I think they already know that, and that's the thing, because they released him and brought him back and stuff like this. The thing that I couldn't get over, and this is so lame and so kind of pointless, but I'm gonna say it anyway, how small he looked.
Doesn't bother me.
How short he looked.
I prefer
it does when he throws interceptions, because he can't see what's going on. Maybe bring Izzo in as a quarterback, because he's 6'5", so he could at least throw over things.
So what's Mac's excuse if he can see to throw interceptions? Because
he's not that tall either.
Phenomenally worse than Zappi's.
You just don't.
But on the point, and I kind of know what you mean about you saying that they know what they've got in Zappi. They cut him in the summer to bring him back. Like they clearly don't hold him in high regard, which is fine. I'm accepting of that as an opinion. But surely it's the same with Mac. You know what you're getting there. A quarterback who's broken. I'm not even debating how we got to him being broken, but you know what you're getting in Mac. So why not give Zappi a full chance? Because you don't know what you've got in Zappi if you give him the full starting job. If you give him 100% of a chance, not a bit of a chance at the end of a game, not a bit of a chance in practice. No, give him the full opportunity. And an example is Garoppolo, who, by all accounts, was fairly lackluster in training. But in game day, and you can debate how good he actually is and success he's had or not had, but in game day, the thought was always that he can turn it on and he can perform. Now, admittedly, game day, Zappi doesn't look like he's lighting the world up. I'd just like to give him a chance.
Part of it, I think, maybe, and this is just opinion, this is just all thinking opinions, speculation. Maybe Bill O'Brien knows that Mac isn't this bad, so he's hoping that he'll put him in and he gets fixed at some point or something.
Genuinely, do you not think it's having the opposite approach? Do you not think?
Yeah, I do.
He's breaking him more and more. The more he's playing, the more he's breaking.
He is, and I think that's so sad.
And I think I'm not joking when I say, do you think Mac is playing because that is now in the best interest of the football team?
What you mean?
Get a higher draft pick. And I said it to you on Sunday, whatever, that I'm now on your side of the street and I want Mac playing every week. And that's because I think he's giving you the best opportunity to lose.
But to that end, if they think so little of Zappi that they let him go, blah, 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 why wouldn't you just put him in? Because you don't have much confidence in him anyway. So why wouldn't you just put him in, see what he can do? If you think he's so bad, you aren't going to risk your draft pick.
I know. I think it's I think either way, they know they've not really got a top end quarterback who is likely to be the fundamental difference in why you win a game. I think they genuinely still think they might have a chance of winning a game with a strong defense and a strong running game. And if special teams can, they're making the punts they need, to be fair. I think Barringer's had a good game. But if Ryland started making his kicks, they think, you know what, we could have pulled something out here, actually. That's still the approach.
There's 2 points that have got nothing to do with Matt that I think that they, if these two things were slightly I know you can play this game all day if sports candy and nuts, I fully appreciate that, but the two things that seriously could have made an effect is obviously Ryland making, you know, the kick, because that make different. He can't seem to kick short. He can kick far but not short. Very strange. And the loss of Christian Gonzalez, because watching JC not succeed has made, I think I said to you, I don't know if it was a couple of weeks ago now, actually, it might have been before the Colts game actually happened rather than when I watched it, was I'd be very interested to see the impact the difference would have made. I know we can't, I fully appreciate that, Christian Gonzalez being in would have done to the defense. I think that there's a lot to be said about what they've got on defense and what was taken away due to injury and how that affected it. Maybe we'd only be looking at sort of 4 and I can't add up now, so what, 4 and 7, things like that. I just think that maybe the defense would have made the difference on a couple of games, maybe the earlier season games. See, this is the other thing, I can roll this on. If they'd have made a difference in the earlier games a little bit, Mac wouldn't have been as broken, maybe we wouldn't be here. But as I said, if splits candy nuts, you can play this game all day. It's just, I said to you, the one thing that I'm really quite disappointed about this season is not getting to see that difference that Gonzalez might have made. And it's a shame. It's nobody's fault. I'm not saying it is. It's just one of those things I didn't expect I would be so interested in, because I'm a tight end girl, because I'm an O-line girl. Although I love the sport, as I've said, the sport as a whole, and I'll dive into the defense anyway. But I was just surprised at myself of how much it was like, oh, I really, really wonder how difference that could have made. But like I said, just pointless, just fairy dust on it and everything. But sorry, totally off point there.
No, I think it's fair. If you have Judon and you have Gonzalez in, and I mean, potentially even if
Judon, Gonzalez and Peppers, oh my God.
I think they signed JC because Gonzalez went out.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. I don't think JC's a number one cornerback. I think the best he played, although he did have a good season afterwards, but I thought the best he played was when he was number 2 to Gilmore. That I think potentially next season, if you had Gonzalez as number 1, JC is number 2, because I think JC does get exposed when he's paired up with the best receiver on the offense. I think that could be a 1-2 hit at cornerback that could very well work if they can both stay healthy, and particularly in JC's case, stay clean and no flags and things like that he's prone for in his past. I think the defense can be good. The trouble is you can't blame the defense for anything. They've just given up 10 points 2 weeks running and lost both games.
Yeah.
And there was some other stat that they've given up something like 72 points over the last 4 weeks, and it's the first time in NFL history or something that a team has given up 72 points or less in a 4-game span and lost all 4 of those games. That's offense, and also special teams, I guess, not making their kicks. That is the offense not moving the ball, not getting points on the board. That's not the defense's fault. I think they've still played pretty well, considering they've had some key injuries out. And that, to be honest, is a positive for me going into next season. If you get those players back fit and healthy, hopefully you can re-sign people like Duggar. Then I think there can be some excitement on defense next year.
That's the point I wanted to make before you moved off the topic. I wasn't blaming the defense or anything. I was just isolating how different it could have been with Gonzalez, and how I sort of was really disappointed to have missed out on that, because I think it would have made a difference. Firstly, thank you for pausing and giving me my moment there. That was really funny. Secondly, I got overwhelmed with the whole idea of Peppers, Gonzalez, and who was the other person? Judon, sorry. Yes, thank you, Judon. And the second was, do you think that they will bring JC back, considering he hasn't sort of been playing so great? Is he on a, do you remember I don't remember if he's on a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal?
I can't remember what
Actually,
his contract is.
I'll be able to tell you because I've got a list of the free agents next year. So hold on. Talk among yourselves, as they say.
It also depends who's the head coach, who's the defensive coordinator. Do they want him back? Does he want to come back and play for them, whoever that is? I think there's a few variables in there that we're not going to know for a few months, to be honest. Although we're possibly only 6 weeks away now from finding out these things. That time actually is getting closer and closer, and we potentially only have 6 more games of the Bill Belichick era as a New England coach.
We only have 6 more games. Stop wishing them all away and giving me draft things of who you want to draft and mock drafts and stuff. I want to enjoy the rest of the season because the season feels so short. We wait and we wait and we wait to watch this sport that we absolutely love, and we wait and we wait and we talk about it and we talk about it and we talk about it, probably too much. Then it's here, and then it's not how you like it. So all you want to do is look for the draft. And I can't get on board with you on that. And we've had this argument again. Right. This is like letting people in on all of our arguments. We've had this argument before.
So I agree with you. The season gets here, and then they play like trash. They play rubbish. I want that to improve.
I do as well. Just because I don't want to not have the season doesn't mean I want them to stay rubbish. I just don't want to wish it away. I just want to get to watch football. I just enjoy watching football too much to be ready for the draft. But you're making me wish it out. You're making me want them to be rid of Mac. You're making me look at who I want next year. I just want to watch who we've got this year first. Good or bad. That's whatever.
Why can't both things be true? Because I'm going to watch them play. I'm going to watch every minute of every game.
But you're wishing it away. All you want to do is get to the next. It's whole like that movie, that Click movie, where you just fast forward through everything and you enjoy nothing. That's how it seems.
I want to watch it all because I want to see which of these players I want around. Which of these players I want around next season. Tavai's come on amazingly this year. If you told me the start of the season, I'd want him as the key pin of the defense in 2024. I would have laughed at you. But now he's had a brilliant season. Agreed. That's what I want to see. Is these players coming through? Maffey, another one. You thought that's a strange pick in the draft, but he's playing quite well at guard. That's what I want to see. Is right. Who do I want around? This is going to be a big rebuilding project. Whether you want to talk about it, whether you like it or not, it's going to be a big real rebuilding project. Whether that is Bill at the helm, I very much doubt it, or someone else. The New England Patriots are about to undergo a revolution. And so what I want to look at and see, I don't want to wish away the games and wish it was the off season tomorrow. I want to see these 6 games, and I want to see which players I want around next season. What I also and that's on the short term sightedness of a game by game. On the longer term, I'm being sensible about how that rebuild is going to happen. Now we've got a lot of cap space, which is in wonderful thing about cap space. You can go out and get players you want. Yes, that's brilliant. But coming with that is also the fact you have so much cap space is because you're losing talent who you will no longer be paying. So players like Onwenu, players like Bourne, that you probably want to try and keep around. Duggar. You've got to re-sign them if they are your good players, if you like, that you want around. You've got to re-sign them first, and then you've got to go and get some new players on top of that with the remaining cap to improve the team on what we've seen this season. And the other opportunity to improve your team is through the draft. The hardest position is the one that you have a need for. The best way to replace that is with a high draft pick. The Patriots have that opportunity now. And in all likelihood, the way things are shaking out, even if they win a couple of games, they probably won't be picking any lower than 3 at the moment because they've now got a 2-game cushion to 4th. And with those 3, one of those top 3 picks, you're in prime position to get a quarterback that you want. So yeah, it does play into my mind when I'm watching the games, the longer term strategy and plan as well. And so I'll ask you then, so when that kick was missed, were you pleased? Were you gutted? And I feel like on a scale of gutted, how gutted compared to previous games you've watched, previous seasons you've watched of missed games, or were you fairly neutral on it?
See, I can be positive, which is what you always say I should be to balance you out, or I can be honest and say what I would say as a fan is I was unhappy that they lost because I thought they should win, but I was also like, okay, that's fine, because I didn't want to watch anymore. I didn't want overtime.
How can you say wishing the game away, wishing the season away, not wanting to watch
I didn't
more?
want overtime.
That was
That's not wishing
opportunity
the
for
game.
you to have another 10 minutes of football, Claire.
I
could
just
you wish
couldn't
it
watch
away like that?
I just didn't want to watch anymore. I wanted to go to bed. I was tired.
So
But I was sad that they didn't win.
I had a wry smile when they missed that kick. Not
Why
because
am I
I wanted him.
I would have put
wanted him to miss
on
it,
that.
but he missed it, and it just thought like this is typical of the season that they're in an opportunity and they blow it as much as anything else. I don't just mean for the drop it. It was just like you've managed to somehow stay in a game that probably you don't really deserve to be in, and you blow it yet again. You find a way. I wrote into the post-game show suggesting that they need to sign Ryland to extension right now, immediately, because any kicker that could, because he was so close to making it, it wasn't like he blew it well past. Any kicker that can kick with that much accuracy, that you give the loss credibility that it was close, but also managed to keep the tank job alive by missing it and not getting the points, that's a kicker you need around. Now, a peek behind the curtain. This is what I have to deal with. Quite a telling moment for me this past week was I've got two kids. I play a game, a picks game every week, where we pick who we think is going to win every game in the NFL. Now, I don't do much gambling, but when I do, I'm an emotional gambler in that I bet against what I really want to happen. So every week I always pick against the Patriots. And if I'm a United fan, for example, I would pick against United so that either my team wins and I'm really happy, or my team lost, but you know what? I want a bit of money. Okay. So in this picks competition, I always pick against the Patriots because I want the Patriots to win. But this past week against the Giants, in this particular matchup, because the Giants were in that race for the who can tank the hardest, if you like, I still picked the Giants, but it was a real conundrum in my head of, hang on, do I really want the Patriots to win this game and pick against them, or do I need to start picking the Patriots because I want the opposite thing to happen here? It's let's get as high as possible in this draft order. Let's get the talent you want. And I say you being the head coach, and I say head coach being probably and hopefully someone new. Go on, tell me. I'm pessimistic. I'm negative. I'm rubbish. I'm wishing the season away. I'm a bad fan.
Firstly, I'd never call anybody a bad fan. I've said on social media that everyone is entitled to fan their own way, and just because someone doesn't agree doesn't mean it's wrong. At the end of the day, everything is about opinion, so no one is technically right or wrong because it's just opinion. So I would never call you a bad fan, but I do call you negative because you can be. I'll own that one. But I'd never.
But will you also accept the negativity is reality? Is there much I've said about the Patriots over the last year that hasn't come true?
What do you want? Oh, I'll bow down, and everything that you say is just so true because you just need a right all the time.
No. It's about
you tell me negative. To be positive. You sit there and say, I ask you, what do you want to talk about on the show? And you say the yin and yang, the positive, but I can't make up.
Am I winning you to the dark side, Claire? Are you seeing the negativity now?
I can see you make out like I can't see it.
I
like I'm that much of a rose-tinted glasses fan that I'm so ditched that I can't see the reality. I've admitted to you that Mac isn't playing. The thing that I choose is to still try and be positive, to still try and nurture the light as a fan, rather than just give it, oh, it's all just, and because that's not how I fan. You fan your way, I fan mine. That's what I always say. And I'm
Any more on the game, Claire?
No, I'm done now. We're at nearly 40 minutes and you've got a meeting anyway. So now you've put me in a mood for the rest of the day.
This week's underrated player of the day. Oh, you think I've put you in a mood? This week's underrated player of the day is sponsored by BAE Systems Limited. Because if you're looking for a tank, these military vehicle specialists are the provider for you. And this week's underrated player of the week is Chad Ryland for being able to so accurately make a disappointing loss credible whilst keeping the tank alive.
Someone save me, please. Preferably before Christmas.
Who was your tight end of the week, Claire?
Is my tight end of the week?
That's the correct answer. So on to the bets. So I've now already won the sandwich bet for wins because it's now impossible that you can get that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So that's when back. Gesicki, you're still in the Gesicki bet for touchdowns because the Patriots are not scoring any receiving touchdowns. And so you're still very much in that, to be honest. He can still have a good week and win you a sandwich.
Okay.
Patriots to finish fourth in the division. I think that's getting, I mean, that's not nailed on yet, but pretty darn likely, I'm afraid. Right, the important one, the Claire tracker. How invested you are in this
Why
team?
do you like hanging me out there in front of people to laugh at? Because that's what it feels like right now. Yeah, that's how it feels right now.
This is not to laugh at, and this is where you can
this
laugh
is
at
how
me.
This is how
because my out of 10 was a lot lower, a lot sooner than yours. But you kept the positivity and the buy-in there. So this isn't like you could laugh at me because I was lower and have stayed lower. So laugh at me. So we were 8, then we went to 9, then we were down at 7 for the Washington game. Now we didn't get an update on after the Colts game. We didn't get an update after the bye week. But now after the Giants game, where have we gone from 7, Claire?
After watching the Colts game, obviously it was out of timing, but after the Colts game I was probably down to a 6, probably dropped me down 1. But now after the Giants game, are really hitting like 5, 4.5.
Okay, we're halfway there.
They're just not very good at the moment. But I think, it's a shame. I don't like it. And I don't like to. Yeah, I think it's sad more than anything. People are relishing in it, but I can't do that.
No, people aren't relishing it. People want the Patriots to win every game and win the Super Bowl.
You don't now.
No. That's what people. But it is. But they're not doing it this season. So what I want is the best opportunity going forward.
And I said to you, I understand that. I fully appreciate why you do that. The thing that I said to you was I can't bring myself to. I think I said it to somebody on a tweet on social media, whatever you want to call Twitter. I can't bring that's why I said you fan your way, I'll fan mine. I just can't bring myself to do that. I can see the benefits of it and I can see how it kind of benefits the future. But for the fan right now watching my team, I just can't root for a loss. I don't have it in me.
That exactly. And that's why we have the tracker. So we can track how that's going.
4.5.
We're going to produce a big graphic that Fox Sports will put out in the next game showing the Claire tracker graph. So
you do realise that all it'll take to go up is a couple of Gesicki catches or something, and then I'll be right up there again.
In warm-ups. So next game, home versus Chargers, 1 o'clock kickoff, 6 o'clock UK time. They are just coming off a home loss to the Ravens, 2010. What do you think, Claire? What's your prediction?
Well, how the Patriots are playing, I'd probably predict a loss, to be honest with you. But they could still win. That's the best you're going to get out of me, I'm afraid.
Come on, score prediction. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. You can give yours. I'm not giving mine. There you go.
So, okay, but you're going loss. Do you think it'll be a close loss or not so close?
I think it'll still be a close game simply because I don't think the Chargers are doing great at the moment. So I think it's sort of, the same way that like the Giants game was sort of close. And I think the Patriots could eke it out if Ryland made that kick kind of situation or something like that.
So you think within touchdown, within a field goal?
Within a field goal.
Within a field goal. Okay.
See, I'm still not convinced I can say Patriots, be certain about a Patriots loss. I'm not very good at that.
I think the hardest one's going to be the Jets game. Because
Oh, no, I'll still predict a Patriots win against the Jets.
It could be fair.
We're up against it, as they like to say.
Hopefully, we will have already secured the number 1 pick by then, so it doesn't matter if we beat the Jets. But otherwise, it could be quite a conundrum of what you really want, and particularly if it is the head coach's last game, wanting to go out on a loss or a win. I think the Chargers are not going to play as well as they'd like to, and they're only going to score 20 points. But sadly, I think the Patriots will only manage to muster 13. So it'll be a similar, relatively close, only a 1-score game, albeit the Chargers will play better than the Patriots will, and they'll be relatively in control of the game, but they just never managed to blow them out. That's my prediction. So 2013.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. That is it for another edition of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please do not forget to be subscribing to said YouTube channel. He has been Chudders. I have been Clazzy Clare. Tune in next time, folks, and go Pats.